I'm just starting it live a little early, just giving everyone a few minutes. We still have 3 minutes until we're gonna take the questions. So take your time, go get your tea, your water, something to drink, get your questions, write them down, and fireside chat starts in about 3 minutes.
Let's delve more into balancing hormones and improving quality in the aged couple.
So Bonnie had a question. What's her question? Balancing hormones?
Balancing hormones and improving quality in the aged couple.
In the aged couple. So that was more of an endocrine hormone issue in the non-infertile patient? Is that what we're talking about?
I think in an aged couple struggling to conceive.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Aged couple trying to conceive. Hi everyone. A couple more minutes. Just take your time. Get your questions together. Will's sitting with me a few minutes while we get started. Let's make sure we got everything connected. And I'm gonna log in, make sure we're working okay. Get us live and rocking. And remember, loves, likes, share, comments, connect, share it with the world. And we're doing an IVF giveaway, and summer's starting, great June, and it's a challenge, this infertility struggle, I know. So we'll talk a little bit about emotions, about hormones, and what's the latest and greatest. So just another minute to get started. Will's gonna step out. He's got some tests to take, and so we want to give him some time to do that, and making sure that still Sunday night at 8, fireside chat. Even though it's a little warmer out there, it's kind of nice to have a little twinkly of the fire behind us. And again, Dr. Rob Kiltz, CMY Fertility, Syracuse, Albany, Rochester, Buffalo. But even though we're in upstate New York, we see patients, couples, individuals from around the country and around the globe. Our real foundation is affordability, quality, access, but really integrating Eastern and Western medicine and helping both on the natural side and if the natural isn't working in a timely fashion, how can we help add in the Western integrative approach with either IUI, IVF, donor eggs, donor embryos, donor sperm, and so much we're doing is regarding inflammation in the immune system. Really the foundation of all of this is immunology, and I'm sorry to say most fertility doctors, most of the world in infertility, the insurance companies still do not believe that the immune system has anything to do with infertility, yet in all areas of medicine, health and wellness, in cancer today, we're identifying that the immune system is key and the treatment is the immunology. So it really is something really different and new, but it's been around for a long time. And if you haven't read Alan Beer's book, written many years ago, Alan Beer sadly has passed away a number of years ago, but really gave us a huge amount of knowledge and how we can all look at this as an inflammation and immune problem. But the struggles are really challenging. The emotions, the physical, the financial, it's really, really hard. We're really working that our global team that's on the phone and taking texts or correspondence, web correspondence in every way possible can be there. And the infertility village through Facebook and Instagram. And although we're not Instagramming this week, we're going to add Instagram live in a combo with Facebook next Sunday, that we can continue sort of to spread the word that it is affordable for more and more of those that are suffering from infertility, and we're finding so much how it really it's nothing you've done. It's just what happens to us as we're living life. Many diseases, dysfunction, and when you're thinking it's supposed to happen naturally and it doesn't, now where do you turn and where do you go? And the beauty is there's so much today on the internet. And I got some really great questions from Tiffany earlier today, and Tiffany asked some questions about piroxicam, a non-steroidal that may be helpful for implantation, and it's 10 milligrams given 1 to 2 hours. And there was a study about 15 years ago in fertility and sterility that showed an increased pregnancy rate. And for one reason or another, we haven't been using piroxicam, but I think it's something that we'll look at and consider adding. And she also asked a little bit about Neupogen wash, sub-Q Neupogen, HCG wash, and sub-Q HCG. So Neupogen is GCSF, which is colony a growth factor, which helps improve both implantation and egg quality and function. And so we've been using it either as a wash in the first 10 days of stimulating our natural cycle to try to thicken the lining. So it's 300 micrograms as an intrauterine wash, kind of like an IUI. And so if you're having trouble with a lining not thickening up enough, that Neupogen is something to consider. And then the Neupogen and the HCG wash both help with implantation. So typically we're using it for IVF, either fresh or frozen, but her question was, can they be used for either an IUI or timed intercourse cycle? And my suggestion is yes. And so typically timed just before ovulation, where if we're using it for IVF, we're doing the intrauterine wash for implantation just before transfer 1 to 5 days prior. So that's either 500 units of HCG or the 300 units or micrograms of Neupogen wash. And then the sub-Q Neupogen is typically started with transfer, and it's going as long as 9 to 12 weeks. And there's some evidence that it helps increase implantation and reduce miscarriage. And then the HCG sub-Q can be given in order to help progesterone in the luteal phase early. So that's just after ovulation and just around the time of transfer. But one of the problems when you give the subcutaneous HCG, usually it's 250 units a day, is that your first pregnancy test is going to be positive. And if it's around 20 on that first test, that suggests it might be the HCG shot. But I like to use it as a booster with the positive pregnancy in order to reduce miscarriage. So those can be used, and so thank you very much to Tiffany for some of those, and she had some really good comments. And I really love your questions and any research that you may be doing to share with us, and either email it to rkiltz@cnyfertility.com or robertkiltz@me.com. And I'm always excited to look at these things, and we're all learning together. I learned so much about reproductive immunology and human growth hormone and some of these things to kind of help in the priming phase to improve eggs and sperm. So let's see. Chanel Johnson, London, hello. Bianca Feltz, hello. Let's see. Yes, IVIG is expensive. And I think if IVIG isn't it, then look at intralipids weekly, up the prednisone to 10 twice a day, the Lovenox to 30 to 40 twice a day. And yes, Plaquenil can help 200 milligrams once or twice a day. It can be started even a month or 2 or 3. And if you have any history of autoimmune diseases, arthritis, psoriasis, Sjogren's, there are so many immunologic disorders that seeing a rheumatologist might be able to get you the diagnosis, which might be able to get the IVIG covered. So, that's something to look at. Hello, Andrew. Kwame, really a pleasure that everyone's sharing. And again, likes, comments, all of this will help everyone get added into the box. And we're working on adding, if you get 3 IVFs, the 4th is for free. And so I'm just kind of working on the logistics of that in the next week or 2. But really, affordability, quality, and access. So many people asking, how can we be so cheap? Well, we're not cheap. We're much more affordable. And it is my mission that I started this 20 years ago with that in mind. Why do they charge $10,000 to $20,000 per cycle? I don't know. But it is elitist and not priced for most. And you have to be careful if you have fertility coverage through your insurance. Sometimes your insurance company or the pharmacies are taking a big chunk of your coverage, and then you're actually having far less value. And many of our Empire Optum patients, actually, we can help them even more because they'll get much more coverage for that $50,000 or that max that they have. And we have ways of helping with copays and coinsurance and things like that. So even though you might be driven and directed to centers of excellence, it's political and it's made up. But I would tell you that CNY Fertility is a leader in upstate and a center of excellence in the U.S. and globally. And we do not turn you away because of previous failures or AMH or your weight or size or any factors. And if you've had poor egg function, quality, or numbers, and you want to keep trying, even though you're younger and you're coming to anyone is going to lower their statistics, and they don't want you, which is ridiculous because our job is to search for ideas to help make it work, even when we're getting only 1 or 2 eggs and getting 1 embryo. I've seen that 1 or 2 eggs make 1 embryo and work. So it's a powerful process of persistence, faith, don't lose it. Whatever the spiritual need and positive nature is, put that on your table. And you may not be ready for adoption or donor eggs or donor embryos or donor sperm or gestational carrier. The questions to us are, okay, I know those things exist. I want to know what you can do to help all of us, affordability, quality, but most of all, how do we help reduce inflammation, improve egg quality and sperm quality, embryo quality, and implantation environment? That's what this is all about. And so again, we're working to answer as many questions as we can. If you go back to the past fireside chats, Sundays at 8, take a look at those. Sometimes the video isn't always perfect, and I apologize. You can at least listen and you're getting the gist of it. Use it like a podcast and share it with others that are on this journey. They might find just a tidbit of information. They're going to say, wow, I had never heard of human growth hormone or Neupogen or IVIG or leukocyte immunotransfusions, LIT. We call it the male allergy treatment. And basically, there are HLA antigens on all of our cells and our white cells that the woman's body may be reacting against that embryo or the sperm and basically trashing it. So LIT is the guy's white blood cells are injected under the woman's skin a month, 2 or 3 prior to whatever treatments you're doing, whether it's intercourse, Yes, sex is still good, by the way. IUI, IVF, frozen, embryo transfer, or fresh. And again, all these little modalities are kind of part of the, I call the blanket approach. And through that blanket approach, it's shotguns hurt, by the way. The blanket is comfortable. And I put together a new list, and I'm gonna have Will put it on the Facebook, which kind of just covers a list of the 30 things you can do. And most of all, send out a shout out to Maria Emmerich, by the way, and she's going to be doing a new 30-day keto for fertility. And she's really amazing. And Kiltz is crazy keto, which is the baby diet or the Lion King plan. Listen, there are lots of ways to do this. And whether you're a vegan or a vegetarian or a standard eater, or you're into the paleo keto, there's going to be a way that you can find it to work. And so, Nicole, hi, how you doing? Can DHE be too high? So DHEA, in Europe, they were adding DHEA 25 to 75 milligrams without measuring. And so my sense is it likely can't be. But if you have high testosterone DHEA, you want to look to try to find what's the culprit there. And really the DHEA is meant for diminished ovarian reserve, which I think maybe diminished ovarian function is a better term. And so I don't think it's too high, but we're not routinely measuring it, but we certainly can, and maybe we should look at the global hormone profile, LH, FSH, testosterone, prolactin, thyroid functions, including thyroid antibodies, really important. And then look at 17-hydroxyprogesterone levels and maybe cortisols, and look at metabolic state, hemoglobin A1C, look at liver functions, triglycerides, because if those triglycerides are high, it's likely an indication of a high carb, high protein, low fat diet. And I know it doesn't make sense, but I'm telling you, it really is amazing. So look at that as an alternative. And I recently did a TEDx talk, so just Google Dr. Rob Kiltz TEDx talk and kind of look at a little bit of the crazy opposites that we're seeing really, really work. And so share it. We're talking about infertility here, but for all of your family and friends that are suffering from high cholesterol, hypertension, diabetes, every disorder look at keto, look at Maria's stuff, and you'll really learn so much. And Ohio, Michigan, hey, Bessie Powers and Nicole Lang, Christy Lewis, how you doing? Nervous about a two-day transfer. Listen, the best place for an embryo is in your uterus. And day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, transfers work. If it doesn't make it in the lab, that doesn't mean it wasn't going to make it in your uterus. And so we've come up with all these opinions by the best doctors in the world, but in fact what they're doing is they're skewing the population to have the very best statistics that they can share on the CDC and SART. And it's kind of a push because there's such political pressure to put in one embryo and have the best numbers, so you're a center of excellence, but in fact, it's manipulated and it's not right. And so I've seen plenty of day 2 transfers make babies, and holdouts to day 5 and day 6 get nothing. So I know it doesn't seem like it's right, but the science that you think is out there is a lot of opinion. And there's a lot of great stuff in those opinions, a lot of great experts that are sharing that. And I would tell you that 99% of the docs are sharing the words that are going to help you. But when it's not working those other places, we're welcome to work with your other docs, your OBGYNs, even your family docs in the whole process. And let's see, is there anything besides meds, diet, and acupuncture to help them along? Slow it down. Yoga, meditation, massage, and keto, or paleo keto, or intermittent feasting, 1 meal a day or 2 at the most, but spread them out. and stay on the progesterone and the estrogen and any other immune protocol that you may have been given. So I hope that helps. Hey, Candace Cash Phillips, address what studies show as to the effect of caffeine on fertility. Well, boy, there's both camps in that, and for guys, caffeine helps with sperm function and motility, and I believe overall caffeine is not harmful, but like anything else, a cup or two is okay, but if you're having 8 to 10 a day, that's not good for your body, your immune system, your brain. So slow it down. Hey, Sarah Loftus, how are you guys doing? Ari Perico, all right, let's see. And Dr. Corley, we want to thank Dr. Grossman, Dr. Ditkoff, all the nurse practitioners, really amazing, and we're just grateful. Lena Connor, August, a vegetarian keto, yes. Listen, vegan, vegetarian, ketos go all the way. Most important part is minimize, very, very narrow, not a variety, narrow and separate. And in my opinion, you need to simplify them more. So your carbs, your calories at night before you go to bed. Add fat for the vegans. It's coconut oil. For the vegetarians, butter, cream, and eggs. It really, really matters. And I personally think fiber is adding to the fuel of fermentation in the gut, and it's not good at all. And I hope that was helpful, Lena. Lindsay Seifeld and Sarofri and 2 others. Hey, really a pleasure to everyone, and we're really grateful. And again, the more you share this, the more we're able to help more people simply by just watching this story. Because the intention isn't to get more for IVF and more IUI and more, because we're really busy and we're grateful for all the work. Sometimes we all just need to slow it down, by the way. And so let's see. Sarah Daly, and if I say any names wrong, please, I apologize. I do have a history of dyslexia a long time ago, but once in a while I'll miss those, and I'm sorry. How many times do you recommend doing intralipids for IUI? So in general, the intralipids, which is a mixture of soy oil, which is not the best, but it works, and egg protein, and by using it once a week or every 2 weeks, probably starting a week or 2 before whatever you're doing, either it's a timed intercourse or IUI or IVF or FET or GC, it reduces inflammation, and going as long as 12 to 14 weeks. And I even have some cases where we're beginning to go out 23, 28, 36, because adding fat, and there's some great studies out there, reduces inflammation, and we're not eating fat. Remember, we were told 25, 30, longer ago, 50 years ago, fat's bad. But it turned out the opposite is true. Carbs are deadly. I call them carbocaine. Deadly, deadly, deadly. And again, we'll send out some more stuff, working on a lot more. Hey, Allison, and our donor team is amazing. Stephanie, Allison, Liz, and Kim's our new addition. And Patty, and really working to make donor eggs more affordable, IVF the most affordable. And again, I'm working on the get 3, 4th for free. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Be patient. And we're going to see how well that works. And again, we're working to make CNY fertile financing for everyone. And so if you know anyone that's suffering from infertility, share the stories, because when they hear a story, and I have so many people, keto baby or acupuncture, or yoga, massage, or just simple little things, and diabetes gone, hypertension gone, high cholesterol gone, sexual dysfunction, it goes away. And guys, they're losing their libido and their testosterone levels are in the gutter. It's because of inflammation in the gut. And all that inflammation in the gut is trashing the prostate, the testes, the seminal vesicles, and the blood flow of the testes, which basically reduces libido and the stress of infertility, right? And so seeing a therapist, talking to a friend, talking and sharing. Lisa is part of our support group, and Aaron's really helping. And there's a lot of apps out there and a lot of other methods of meditation. We want to share Lindsay Eastburn's stuff on hypnosis. And check out our book, The Fertile Secret. And you can get it on Amazon. And more and more, we're really realizing that through a positive attitude, it's hard. I got it. Listen, I can say it. I can try to inspire, be your coach. And I'm not here if you're really down. We're just hold that partner, hold a friend, hold that energy. There's got to be a lot of love shared in this group. And even when we're mad or sad or angry or frustrated because we're hearing it. And thanks to the Facebook fertility support group helping a couple who might have somehow got their instructions, their HCG trigger or Lupron trigger a little early. We were able to come in on Sunday and take care of it. And so we're really open to whatever it takes to make it happen. And our Albany office is really, really amazing. Great team, close to Manhattan and Boston and Montreal. And so shout out for Dr. Grossman, Dr. Ditkoff, Justine's team, and all the embryologists and the support staff. I'm really proud of them and grateful. But remember, if there's a complaint or concern, throw it our way, because we want to hear, because the only way I can know what we need to do better is to hear from you on all of that. So I really appreciate it. And hey, Lori Perez Dorsey, how you doing? And we're there. I know it seems like it takes a long time to get you in, but you could start off by 30, 60, 90-day prime. That means keto, paleo, again, whether it's vegan, vegetarian, or whatever it is, work on it. Slow it down. Vision boarding. Put the pictures of you and your partner, or you with a baby, wherever you're at in your struggles, and continue to share these methods, and bam, it happens. And remember, that which you think about and dream comes true. The more you visualize the dream you want, amazing. So really a pleasure. Remember, comments, we'll make sure. So we got to see you on the Facebook Live in order to get you into the pot for the free fertility IVF drawing. And Brandy, how you doing? And blessing, and all of you rock. And there's a lot of sadness in this world, and people need love and support, all of us, on the struggles of life. And so we see so much sadness going on in the world, and people get depressed, and we want to just send out love and faith and patience in the process. And so always here to learn. Amanda, how you doing? Trisha White, Jessica Kabadi, how you doing? Wells, Michelle, how you doing? We're all cheering. And let's see here. Getting your body ready with keto, Ovasitol. Now remember, the Ovasitol is an inositol. Like metformin, it seems to regulate and reduce glucose and insulin levels. And high glucose and high insulin levels it causes glycation, which damages the mitochondria. And as we know, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of making ATP. And remember, your fat is the fuel for the mitochondria that makes the ATP, keeps the cells alive and functioning, most importantly, in your glands, like the thyroid, the adrenals, the ovaries, the testes. And I think it was Bonnie threw out to Will a little bit about aged couple. And, I think we're all aged in some way, and I'm not sure if this meant for menopausal management, or it's really, we're all realizing that over 30 is older when it comes to fertility, since most fertile in the teens, half as much in the 20s, half as much in the 30s, and it really drops in the 40s. And so how do we balance the hormones? Well, hormones aren't meant to be balanced. They're, you're mostly supposed to be mostly predominant estrogen in the early development of the follicle, the cervical mucus, which allows the sperm to get in, and post-ovulation, estrogen dropped, you become progesterone dominant. And really, so for polycystic ovarian syndrome and metabolic syndrome, LH levels are high, and that causes high testosterone. And so there's an imbalance, but it's supposed to rise up for ovulation and then go down, and then LH and FSH come up early, or I should say late in the luteal phase when pregnancy isn't happening. The corpus luteum drops out, progesterone drops, and the new cohort of eggs begins to mature. Now remember, it may be 3 to 6 months that these eggs are just taken out of their silent rest that they've had since before you were born. So it takes time for those eggs to develop. And we are what our mother ate while we were gestating in the womb. So critical is when you get pregnant, keto, keep it with fat. Fat is the fuel for your fetus. Don't give it up. I always say it's the keto life plan is keto. And again, this ketogenic diet has a lot of labels, and whether it's paleo, keto, but it's really, I call it intermittent feasting. You want to keep the food eating less frequently, increase the fat because you get twice the calories, super fuel, in the fat, and it does not have to be processed in your liver. And remember, the liver, function one is to make fat from carbs and protein. And remember, you are required to eat 0 carbs ever. So I think it's important, monitor those hormones even on a weekly basis to kind of see what's going on. But basically, if you're okay, you're okay. And a really, really great book that I learned a lot from on food is Richard David Feynman, The World Turned Upside Down. I highly recommend it. And then 2 other books I really recommend is Thomas Seyfried, Cancer is a Metabolic Disorder, and Gary Taubes, Taubes, is either Why We Get Fat or Good Calories, Bad Calories. And there's great audibles, and read them and share them, and it really helped tremendously. And I'm going to zip on down. Let's see, Atlanta, we're working on it, by the way. And Dr. Mirabel Vera-Dallas, great, she's getting her training in naturopathic medicine, great gynecologist, OBGYN, does a lot of immunology. We're working to get PRP, or platelet-rich plasma, started there. She's already doing some. We're going to bring it to Syracuse and Albany and Rochester and Buffalo because it's basically stem cells. And there may be mitochondrial factors in those stem cells that's going to help rejuvenate. But my opinion, it's keto, get glucose low. And I know how crazy it is. In Florida, listen, we're everywhere. And physically, it's hard to kind of like stretch me or seed me every little place. But we're in some way, we're all there. And so if we can all help train your OBGYN doctors to learn more about fertile foods and how inflammation affects fertility in the mind, and it's really amazing. And so share this with your OBGYN docs before you're trying, and once you're trying, and once you're pregnant, and throughout pregnancy. So this is a global story that we're finding that you don't need us individually and physically, but it's possible to share the story everywhere, and we're learning all together. And again, I'm working on it. I'm already down a little bit in Sarasota, and it just amazing people everywhere. And we're so grateful. And so let's see, Jasmine, 2 failed transfers, natural FET cycle, and now 6 weeks pregnant. Awesome. Twins, fantastic. And obviously we're really pushing towards singles, but there's still some twins out there. And natural cycles or letrozole trigger, simplifying the process. And another way to reduce the cost of fertility care is do more natural cycles. And Crystal and Michael and others have utilized these, and by doing natural cycle trigger IVF, I mean, I've gotten 4 eggs, 4 embryos, 2 transferred, 2 on ice, and voila. So one of the benefits there, it lowers the cost. And we're really working on ways of sort of reducing costs between embryo banking and egg banking and whether you're doing PGS or not. Now remember, I'm not against PGS, pre-implantation genetic testing, or PGD. I'm all for it, but everyone and all of us need to understand it's imperfect too. So they're not 100% accurate because nothing is. And so it's kind of interesting as we're learning on this this journey. And let's see. Yes, this is a hard road, Courtney. How you doing? How do we help when it's spent a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort? Blood work, how long are my current testing, blood work, semen analysis good for? No insurance coverage here and already $20,000 in debt. Listen, the testing isn't critical. I already know that the cause is inflammation, and it seems like we're testing people to death, unfortunately. And so imagine that you can afford it. And I always imagine that a baby is at least $500 a month. So put $500 in a baby bank as if you have a baby already. And as you're going through this journey, depending on your age, you're going to jump into it sooner or later. But just believe and hold faith. And it's sharing the affordable fertility story for people earlier and earlier and earlier. That's what this forum is about. And again, it doesn't need to be $20,000 or even $10,000 for that cycle. We can really do it for so much less. We're working on an ability to do this nearly for free, but obviously it's not for free. But everything costs something. But our team is working so hard in the process. So don't give up, okay? And I know that we have so many people behind us, and I know my Tia is helping me and always supporting me, my team at See My Fertility, my family, my friends. And so instill the journey for your friends and family and let them know what's going on, because we're afraid to tell the story. But when you share the story, it takes that burden off your back a little bit, and you're not afraid, because that what you hide kind of brings the brain and the blood flow in a bad way in your body. And remember, slow it down. When you're exercising, when you're on the gladiator journey, the blood flow goes away from the core of the gut. It's damaging. It causes inflammation, cancer. I'll go down the list of all the diseases. And don't forget laparoscopy, hysteroscopy. It really, really can look for silent endometriosis. The hysteroscopy looking for inflammation in the endometrium, and treating with 2 to 4 weeks of doxycycline or clindamycin or doxy. And depending on your allergies, you're going to look at other medications. But we're a culture dish. Our body is just a culture dish for the universe. Viruses, bacteria, yeast, you name it, it loves our body in this. And remember, if you're eating a high-carb diet, lots of sugar, the yeast and bacteria love you even more. And so you got to get rid of it. And remember that yogurt is sugar. Even this full-fat yogurt, it is not fat. Like, you know what fat is, right? It's that thing on our back and our bottom. And if you don't have some of that, it's not good. And I really stress that. Heather Bailey, how you doing from Texas? And just really sharing the story. IUIs, don't forget inseminations work, but 3 to 6 cycles. But if you have IUI coverage but no IVF coverage, use that IUI meds and monitoring to add on an IVF cycle. And it's an add-on, right? You still may do the IUI, you take out some eggs, you make some embryos, you bank them. And if you don't get pregnant, there's your insurance policy, you come back in and you add the next level. So should I go ahead and order ER meds to cycle next month? Yes, do it. And Syracuse in case the one didn't take, and wait to see if I get the positive, BFP. And I'm not as good with the acronyms, people, I apologize. And maybe it's just because I'm in the 60s age-wise. But I'm learning. And listen, there's always, we like to see a lot of positive, but there's always going to be some negatives, because the negatives are teaching us what we're doing wrong. But sometimes on learning, it's impossible to always do it right. Like, that's not a human being. And so in some way, mistakes are just a human nature, but we are working as humans to step back and say, okay, what do we do to fix this? And remember, 315-416-9872 is my cell. Text, call, although I try to pass it. And don't forget the web correspondence. Our travel global team is amazing. Donna, Becky, Kim, boy, and I apologize. This Greta, the whole team out there is amazing. Both our Syracuse, our Albany, Rochester, Buffalo, but our global team is around the world and around the country. And so we want you to know that. And hey, Linda Brown, how you doing? Let's see. First one, Corley was awesome. And again, it's just keep going and visualize the positive. And when the struggle has got you, it's time to go walk in grass and walk in nature, listen to the birds, listen to a really good, positive, inspiring book. And I do a lot of Audible, and it really, I think is inspiring. And Amanda Plant Davis, how are you guys doing? Terry Legg, Indiana, and Linda J. Brown. Listen, we're all working together already. Know that. And we're just all working to share, and learn some new ways, new strategies. Do not give up in the process at all. And I know I'm sometimes long-winded, or I may get off the track. And a lot of what I've always learned is that what you're doing isn't working. Keep going. Let's see here. Mackenzie Wharf, privately donating embryos. We are in desperate need of those embryos. There's no sense in throwing them away or letting them sit around or going to research. There are infinite number of couples that would love the donation of eggs, sperm, and embryos. And I'm working on a way to just create maybe a Facebook group for people who want to donate eggs, sperm, and embryos, and sharing them in a knowing way. This anonymous stuff is going away, because we share a kidney, a liver, part of a liver, or some organ, blood. We're here as humans to gift and give and share. And so you simply go into the share either with me on our Kiltz at See My Fertility that you have someone that wants to donate some embryos. We have a great mechanism to do that. There's some testing that needs to be done, but we really work to make it the most affordable and accessible to people everywhere in the process. So if you know someone that has a lot of embryos, they're just sitting around, don't know what to do with, but we have to have the story. We have to start chatting about how can we help turn it around from those infinite number of embryos that are just sitting on ice, and who knows, maybe for the next 100 years, to helping the genes come true or through, and those genes deserve to be in the alive category. And I've always said the only way to get to the opportunity of alive is to get into a uterus. And so that's why this PGS testing may not be so accurate, because even when it says it's abnormal, it might not be the actual fetus, it might be the placenta. And it may be that the body is capable of correcting those things. So we're seeing so many more people that are saying, hey, don't throw out those abnormal embryos, just hold them. And maybe it's now our ability to pick the better quality, the PGS normal embryos first. And if those don't work, then we're able to pick those others down there. So, audiobooks. Hey, Taman Tiffany SD, drive to, listening to those books, and the power of meditation and prayer. And Ali Domar really is amazing. I've learned so much from Ali Domar over the years. It's put out a new app. In CY Fertility, we have a lot of meditation stuff on our own site that doesn't cost you a thing. And I always say, put on some really great background music and make sure, listen, sit down and do some journaling every day. I always start the day, thank you, God, power, spirit, nature, for this awesome and amazing day. And I've got problems and troubles. And remember, dead people don't. And I go visit my mom and dad in the Lakeview Cemetery in Skaneateles. I call that the stress-free zone. And at 93, a couple of years ago, they both passed. And how blessed and lucky I've been to have an amazing family and a great support. And a shout out to Tia for supporting this crazy maniac who's a workaholic. And yet I say I don't work a day in my life, because the passion that we all bring to this to help together on the struggle, it's a big one. And let's see, prepping the PIO for that shot, Amber Reed, hey, and for some reason that shot helps, but if you can't tolerate the PIO, the progesterone oil, vaginal works, oral works, or remember, it may be worthy of doing a natural or letrozole with a trigger shot, not have to need that. And let's see, Grazia K. Marino, we're looking forward to talking and sharing the story. And the key, really never, ever give up in this. And, we see so many people from Canada, Montreal, Toronto, Quebec, Calgary, Vancouver, in Alaska, Hawaii, traveling the world. It's so easy and fast. And when our couple from San Antonio needed to come a day early, they caught a red eye, got in late into Buffalo, took a rental and drove to Syracuse. And it's simpler than any of us imagine. And that's the amazing part to all this. And let's see, can't wait to start IVF, and we're looking forward to it. And 13 years, it's hard, but I've seen people with more years than that suddenly change the environment, the blood flow. Low AMHs go up, high FSHs go down. Even at 44, I've seen 2 failed IVFs, keto, and the keto fertility is Kiltz's keto. And I know I'm way over there, bacon, eggs, butter, beef, baby. I know, it's kind of cute. But if you're looking for a little better sort of drive and direction, check out Maria Emmerich, MariaMindBodyHealth.com, and working on a new book, The Lion King Plan. But we're working on it. And hey, Kathy Woods, how you doing? Vermont, always a pleasure. And IVF with donor eggs, 51. Listen, we see plenty of women in their 50s and early 60s. And I know it seems crazy, but men are having babies in their 60s and 70s. And we're seeing so many really healthy women in their 50s and 60s. So there can't be just an age. We have to look at everyone individually. And so whatever you can do to shift the environment and the blood flow in your brain, your bowels, your core, that is so important and critical. And keep on going. Erica Beth, Taman Tiffany, again, Amanda Brown, Kathy Woods. Best to you guys. And Ron. Let's see here. This is hard. Yes. Oh, and keep at it. You know, if you've had a baby before, but somehow it's not happening, you know, this is where I really focus on inflammation. Laparoscopy, hysteroscopy for silent endo, inflammation, and starting simple with keto, paleo, and letrozole, Clomid, trigger shot, IUI, and don't forget the immune protocol. Lovenox, prednisone, Prograf, Neupogen, weekly intralipids, IVIG. We're using a lot more Plaquenil now, and acupuncture, massage, all really important to help reduce the inflammation immune system. And again, and let's see, good one, Stephanie Castro, how you doing? Having more success with fresh or frozen transfers lately? Well, it's really individualized, but if it's failed with previous fresh, move to frozen, previous frozen, move to fresh. Look at either endometrial receptivity assay, treat with antibiotics, the endometrial scratch or hysteroscopy, add the laparoscopy to look for the endometriosis. It really can help a lot. Never label anything as final, by the way, because final is kind of when we're in the grave, I think. But I know it's hard and you want to just give up, but always focus on now. And if you haven't read or listened to Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, I highly recommend it. But remember, look at what's the global immune protocol: IVIG, Humira, Plaquenil, LIT, and most of all, don't give up. And the Piroxicam, again, is something we're likely going to start looking at adding. And again, before I'm going to say it for sure, I just want to clear up a few things before we just throw it out there. So, and share your success stories. Hey, I did this. This is how I succeeded. And keto. Let's see, tryptophan, L-arginine. You know, these are all the anti-inflammatories, but it's really important for serotonin, oxytocin. We want to get cortisol down, epinephrine down, and dopamine. Listen, our dopamine receptors just go nuts, and slow it down and in the whole process. And I'm not one to believe in bread, pasta, pastries, beer, out of here. Ashley Johnson, my diet has been meat, bread, pasta, and pastries for most of my life. If I couldn't eat carbs, I would be bad off with just having meat. I know. Dieting, lifestyle change with food is impossible for me. Well, it's only impossible because you think it's impossible, but everything is possible. And I always say, if you've got a problem, and you think it's only male infertility, it's not always. And so it's always going to be, I think it's important to look at it for both. And so, boy, it's a vasectomy or a tubal ligation, so it can't be the other partner. But most often it's always, or I should say, it's always egg and sperm and embryo and uterus. So, you know, maybe there's some certain things. In my all-meat diet, I know it sounds neurotic and crazy, and I won't agree with you. But there are ways to do it that Marie Emmerich really shares some ideas that I think give it an easier taste and process in all of it. And even if it's over 16 years of trying to conceive, or that first one, it's keep on going, don't give it up. And you know, for all those that are, you know, traveling, there may be some travel mates here and come together and share the stories, and maybe there's some shared travel expenses, you know, caravanning or renting a house and doing sharing an Uber ride. You know, there's so many ways to share, and maybe some people have some medications that are sitting around, and there's ways to change the story and the way we do all of this. And remember, hey, Becky and our travel team, global, Awesome, thank you. And our Syracuse Zoo party celebration next Saturday in the evening, 5 o'clock, Syracuse Zoo, a celebration, whether you're successful already or not. We're just really here to put us all in the energy of success. And the more we get that, the better. Hey, Toronto Carol, how you doing? Do not eat pork if you're allergic to it. Again, when I talk diet, I'm not saying weight loss. It's really a food plan, a life plan of changing the fuel that you put in the Ferrari. And so when I say bacon, eggs, butter, beef, beef bacon, but you got to add the fat. Liver has all the minerals and vitamins your body needs. And so know that. It's kind of a crazy concept, and don't give it up, all right? Let's see, how are we doing here? I just want to make sure we're not going. I locked up a little bit, so hang on a second. Let's see. And Gina, thank you. Sandy Young. So I hope I answer that question. So if you're allergic to a food, and my bet is you're allergic to something that the animal is eating. And you're eating a lot of protein, which usually stores all the plant antigens, corn, which we have allergies to, and wheat products. That's one of the problems. So you got to be careful about that. And hey, Andrea Smith, why microdeletion? Keto for our health and weight management. We were told there's no way to fix or repair my husband's issues since it's chromosomal. Listen, as long as you've got sperm, it's possible to use that sperm, even with these deletions, by the way. I always say until you do something, you never know the outcome. If it's azoospermic and in the biopsy, it still may be worth HGH, using some Gonalef or Follistim, or adding HCG or Clomid Letrozole. So, and especially keto. Don't give it up. And thanks for the shout out, the loves and likes, the comments. Will is helping, Aaron is helping, our whole global team, and this is all part of our global team, by the way. And we're adding Instagram next week, and any other sharing methods that we can do to share the love and the faith and the keto process. Really, really helpful in this. And again, we have Marie Emmerich. Look at her keto live Facebook, and I think she's starting this week. So clarify with her stuff. And CNY Fertility has a keto Facebook, and we just want to keep sharing, again, keto, paleo, a lowering inflammation food plan, whatever it is, whether you're a vegan or vegetarian, standard eater, we're just all looking for some ideas to share the love and the likes and the comments and all of this. And let's see if I got this. Metformin can be good also. Remember, lowers glucose and insulin levels. Some people don't tolerate the metformin as well as Ovasitol or inositol. We use the Theralogics, the Theramegas, omega-3 fatty acids, and the PQQ, but Ovasitol and Novavite, and then add the prenatal vitamin Theranatal once you're pregnant, and do not give up on keto once you're pregnant. I believe nausea and vomiting early in pregnancy is saying don't eat it. And also we're working with Jay and Alan Boltnick in Buffalo, great perinatologists and also reproductive endocrinologists, but all the OBGYNs and specialty docs in Buffalo, Syracuse, Rochester, and Albany, and globally, we're here to work with your docs, your primary cares, and even if you're going to a local LabCorp, Quest, or radiologists, we're here to work with it. And just thanks to everyone for sticking around on a Sunday night. Really, really, really appreciate everything you're doing. Andrea Smith, let me see what else you got. Again, gratitude. Thank you for your comments. And we're all praying and visualizing success for all of you. So if we do sort of a village, a group prayer and visualization and energy, and remember, our mind is sending out those radio waves, those vibration, electromolecular energy, which we're tuning in to the CNY fertility group, but let's send it out to all fertility groups out there, all those suffering from infertility in this crazy journey. May they be successful in the journey. And it's very emotionally painful. We know, and relationships are very painful. We're men and women, or women and women, or men and men, or you're a single woman or a single guy on this journey. Know there has to be a connection, and we're all sending it out. And Meg and Grace and some of our other team members were just out at the Midwest Fertility Meeting, and a lot of talk on mitochondria. And listen, mitochondria, that's the key here. And maybe like you go try to add more or better, you try to do stem cells, or do you really start with what you think about, what you put in your mouth, the food, faith, and how you move the body to reduce the temperature, reduce inflammation, increase the blood flow to your core. And this is the kick-ass amazing part that I've learned. And so, again, really, 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 really grateful. Let me see if there's any other quick questions on this whole story. Couple more minutes. Maybe during the week we'll try to catch you a little bit. Will's always checking in. What's the theme, the questions? Let's see, it was Maureen and Olivia today, and Dr. Chaffel and Trish. I want to be gratitude for coming in on Sunday, and to just everyone out there, and a little shout out to Amani, who's playing in a play, and to Bonnie and Ananda, and just to everyone in San Antonio, in Austin, in Dallas, in Houston, in LA, Seattle, and Oregon, and I can go on and on and on just to mention everyone out there, and how grateful we're sharing. And let's see, Mary Elizabeth, immature eggs. Oh man, this is a challenge. And we get 10 eggs, 10 injected, 1 fertilizes. Or we get 24 eggs and we get 4 mature, 4 injected, 4 fertilized. And where is that coming from? And this is one of our challenges, and we're working on methods of maturing 1 in you, in the ovary, and then 2 in the lab. And we're really, really searching for methods, and we're always co-culturing overnight to see if we can get that maturity to happen. But whether it's a receptor issue, for some reason the egg is able to be released from the follicle and we're able to retrieve it, but it's not able to go through its maturation process, which may be an explanation of why fertility isn't happening in the first place. So in some way, it's really hard to understand the exact reason why, but we're really working at maybe it's switching to menopause-only cycles. And for some people, menopause-only may be the key. If you're doing gonal and menopause or gonal a low-dose HCG, or you're doing follistim with menopause or low-dose HCG, and you're not getting a lot of great embryos, great eggs, or mature, going to a menopause-only cycle may be very helpful. And we're working with Fearing and getting some talks on all of this, and there's some great evidence that it's not going to make more eggs, but it may make better quality eggs and embryos. But again, like anything else, why one thing works and another doesn't on one person and not another, this is the mystery. But in some way, I always say we're all rats. We're not that different. We take a cell from each of us and put it under the microscope, and you can't tell who we are. And you really can't tell from the cover there, by the way. And immature eggs and mature them. David Gardner. Yes, we're working on that through overnight culture, and there are some culture media that we can use in an attempt to mature them. It may be triggering early or triggering later, adding more HCG or a combination of HE and Lupron, adding the Neupogen and human growth hormone to the process. But again, the one thing, oh my gosh, you're wondering where all this stuff comes from, right? Hey, Dee Dee, how are you doing? And let's see, embryo glue. All right, it's a culture media that we add just prior, an hour or two prior to transfer. We're really working to add it, but the studies haven't been clear for us and others. But if it's something you want, we need to know, and we'll talk about it. Add some cost to that. So Pixie, which is a little disc where you put the sperm in the little dish, and the good sperm attached to the Pixie disc allows us to pick a sperm and inject it in an egg. That might be something to add on, and really working on the add-on. So at retrieval, if you're doing a freeze-all cycle, you might add on an endometrial biopsy or hysteroscopy. You may add on the immune protocol. If you're doing a fresh transfer, that's where you might add on the intrauterine HCG or intrauterine Neupogen, intrauterine HCG typically at retrieval, and then add the sub-Q Neupogen, the intralipids, and an immune protocol to the whole process. So let's see, Menopur or HCG LH. Well, you know what? I can't tell you one's better. I would say both are likely comparable. If one doesn't work, look to another. Really, that's what this process is about. We're fancy chefs. If one recipe isn't working, let's be open to another recipe. And that's the one thing I've learned in the process. Be open. Don't forget low-dose naltrexone. I'm not sure I'm ready to add CBD oil to all of this. And get rid of alcohol, drugs, marijuana, tobacco. They're not good for your human Ferrari, and you are the very best. And let's see, for donor, Melissa, for donor egg. I'm sorry, I may have missed the beginning of that question. I apologize. And open all of our hearts to the process. And sometimes you have to help us. We just have to listen and learn. Any issues, remember, share them. And when you're upset and mad and angry and want to leave and get your records, I understand. But sometimes it's, if you can share something with us, we can always do better. And we always are open and recommend second opinions. I am, and we are at CMY Fertility, a reproductive immunology center. And if you want all the tests, we'll do them. But if you really understand the process, the treatments are always an advantage in one way or another. And natural killer cells. Hey, Nicole Lang, how you doing? So remember, there's some controversy in whether or not the exact number of natural killer cells matters. If you want to measure them, great. You want to look at TH1, TH2. You want to look at thyroid antibodies, ANA, lupus, rheumatoid factors, all of those. Intralipids, prednisone, IVIG, LDN, keto. And the key to reducing inflammation is keto. And so really just kind of keep going. And I know it seems like a long time to wait. But imagine that which you desire is already here. And check out Amazon.com for our Fertile Secret, my intention book. And don't forget, Marie Emmerich has some really great stuff out there. And hey, Danielle, so they don't believe in natural killer cells. Well, don't worry about their belief in them or not. And many of them don't even believe in the immune system as a cause. What you're working to do is reduce inflammation. And we work with Dr. KK, with Dr. Braverman. We work with anyone you want, by the way. But we can do it and maybe make it a little bit easier on you in one way or another. And so just keep on checking it out. And whether your doctor believes in it or not, you sometimes are going to teach us all something. And that's what I've learned in the whole process. And Neupogen, hey Rachel Long, and when should be taken stems, transfer, or both? Well, stems, the Neupogen and granulocyte colony stimulating factor, GCSF, may help improve the eggs, the environment, implantation. So with stems and with and after transfer, up to about 9 to 12 weeks may help. We're typically doing a microgram per kilogram, about 60 micrograms max. And I think if what you're doing isn't working, it's like, why don't we do the whole gamut, kit and caboodle? And again, I'm going to show it and I'll throw it out to you. And I know it's already after 9 on Sunday. Everyone needs to get to bed early. Remember, listen to something positive, upbeat before you go to bed, or read something. Cuddle with your partner. If you have a dog or a cat, you love animals, pet, and just, find that joy in the struggle of this journey, because there's gifts in all of it. So no matter where you're coming from, we're grateful. Blessings to everyone. I'm sorry I wasn't able to get a comment for everyone there, mention everyone, but I am always here at your disposal. So God bless. Enjoy the day. See you next Sunday at 8 for more of a fireside. Maybe we'll do a lakeside chat next week to get outdoors a little bit. So God bless. Enjoy.